Hey everyone, it's Stephanie and
Edmund.
I brought my hubby on to discuss Married at First Sight, episode 5, season 8. So a lot of you guys have been asking about him, so I thought it would be a fun treat to bring him on and let you know what he thinks of this season so far.
Thank you all. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to talk about this episode and this show, so I'm glad to be back. I'm toning it down, this time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to maintain that tone, but
yeah,
People's Champ is back.
So I'm just going to kick it off with Luke and Kate. Why beat around the bush? Yesterday's episode, we saw the couples basically enjoy the most of their honeymoon. Last week's episode was a couple of days in. We saw about 5 days, I think, of them enjoying their honeymoon or the marriage. At this point, I don't know, but we saw the majority of the honeymoon. We saw them do different activities. We saw them move on from kind of arguments that they had gotten into before, and we saw some new arguments. So let's kick it off with Kate and Luke, because that's what everybody is talking about. Kate and Luke were Kate and Luke, but completely 10 times worse than I thought. So by Kate and Luke, I mean they've kind of had an awkward dynamic. They were very uncomfortable. We all have been saying it. I've been reading and responding to the comments about him not really being into her. But that was confirmed for us last night after he kissed her. He basically said that he turned himself off in order to kiss her and I guess tested it out and said some very not so nice things. So he basically said that he felt dead inside and was repulsed. So Luke hit a new low for me. Luke has an arrogance about him that is really off-putting. Even as Kate is expressing to him throughout the episode and throughout their honeymoon how she feels and what she desires, he's fake trying. He's not even trying. There's a part of him that I believe was shut down from the moment that he saw her, and he made up his mind about where this relationship was going to go. And his arrogance translates into this person of like, I'm better than, or I expected someone better. And he falls short, literally, because he's like 5 feet tall. He falls short in so many ways. And then to have this attitude is really deplorable, because I feel like if you're not attracted to someone, there's a way that you can express that would be less demeaning than I saw him do or what we heard that he did. So that was really, really tough to watch. I mean, we can talk about all their other, scenes and the water and the mud bath, but none of that really matters because we know where they ended up. And it's just really sad to watch because it just didn't have to get that visceral. I think her self-esteem already took a hit when she realized that he was not into her. Her intuition told her that. But to get that confirmation in a way that was not favorable, like, I want to maybe get to know you more, or I'm not there yet, or this isn't working for me, versus I feel dead inside. And
man, that was terrible.
Yeah, and he wanted to throw up or something like that.
Terrible.
So I don't know. I have no respect for him, and I feel like unless she really processed this, she will carry this to the next relationship, because it's not something that is just, oh, this guy wasn't into me. She put everything into it. And for you to go as far as saying you feel dead inside, it will make her wonder what it is about her. And that's really unfortunate because it really isn't about her. It's more about him. So what do you think?
Well, so first of all, let's put it in perspective. I was actually out of town for the majority of this season. And then when I got back, I started catching up. So she wouldn't say anything to me because she didn't want to spoil it. And what did I say when I first saw him or first saw the dad?
So the moment that they got on screen, he was like, this is not going to work out. Like, he's not into her. And I was just like, I don't know, but I had already seen it.
First of all, there's a way that a man can look at a woman and they can be attracted. It's just primal nature. But you also can become attracted to somebody through their mind and who they are as a person. Mm-hmm. But you have to be open and give it a shot. But he was so into his friends and it was just tough. And so I want to do this review a little differently. I want to talk to Kate and Luke as if they're watching right now. And if any of their habits are inside of you, then here's some things. We all aren't perfect, so I'm not going to act like we are. But we can be respectful, right? If you do not are not attracted to somebody, or you find out on a date or throughout the date somebody might do something, you know, then you have the right to not be attracted. But you shouldn't hurt somebody's feelings, repulsive and grotesque. It reminds me of when I forgot the woman's name who called John disgusting. And
Molly from season
those
6,
things are hurtful. I mean, of course, words only have the power that we give them. I understand that, but it's still inappropriate. So what I'd like to say is if anybody's watching that's similar to him, or if he's watching, you know, we're no better than anyone else, right? We all have the same amount of energy inside of our souls. We all born in different places and different races and different genders and everything else, preferences, but that doesn't make you better or worse than anyone else. You know, I like to say that the difference between confidence and arrogance. Confidence is, well, I would say arrogance is thinking that, you know, you're better than others, right? Confidence is knowing that nobody else is better than you. And there's a difference. And he thinks that he's better than her, which is not true. So to Kate, like, you are a beautiful woman, a beautiful young lady. Do not let any of this stop you from pursuing a love and passion, and don't make it seem that something is wrong with you. When people show you themselves, it's something that's wrong with them, and you're just the mirror that it comes out in. And it does happen even in marriages, and you don't want it to be that nature, but we bounce things off of each other, never in a disrespectful way like that. But it is about growth. They're not ready, or he's not ready to grow.
Yeah.
And the other thing, you know, on her part though, is the part about the smoking. You know, that's a big deal breaker for a lot of people. So if you're going to be into something, be upfront, be honest about it, even if it's just casual social. I know, like for us, that would have been the end of the conversation. We would have done it politely, but we just don't do cigarettes. You know, we might, you know, we don't do cigarettes. But I'm just saying, you know, anyway, my point is this, that if you have respect and decency about yourself, I think you can show that in others. So I just want her to continue dating and continue. But we know it's a wrap.
Yeah.
But the whole disgusting thing and looking around and all of that, it just, you know, I really want everything that I said watching the show, I cannot say on this video. But I was just disgusted by the way he acted towards her. I think it was just terrible. So.
Yeah, you know, if we watch his mannerisms, he recoiled when she was, you know, genuinely expressing how she was feeling. He was like,
yeah, like,
kind of like, yeah, I hear you, you know, little girl. Okay,
yeah,
like
he's
so much for your, you know, thank you
for your input.
Next, it was
it's
very
like talking
cold.
to his daughter or something.
Yeah, it was very cold, and the irony is he runs a dating. A speed dating thing, which I think maybe he's really here to, you know, show off the brand and get more business.
I'm sure his business is going. I would like to see. I'm sure he's going to be popular now.
Yeah, because I don't think that he was here for the right reasons. You know, he's saying he's trying, but he's not. We've seen other couples that haven't been attracted to each other. Case in point, season 1, Jamie and Doug. Jamie said straight up she wasn't attracted to him, and it took her a long time to get to that place, and they've been married for a long time, and they have a child, and she said that she was so happy that she allowed herself to see beyond that initial lack of, you know, desire for that person. So if you're really here, you wouldn't call it quits so easily just because she's not your type. And like he said, everybody has the right to, you know, if I'm not attracted, I'm not attracted. But the way that he said it, we've been seeing him treat her badly in so many different ways, you know, nitpicking, the little digs that he's giving that shows more of his like obsessive and controlling behavior. And that's something that he's projecting onto her because we see him very regimented, and that definitely stems from somewhere. We see how he's so callously, you know, shut her down when she was leaning in for a kiss for the wedding. And like I said, he didn't have to do that, but there was a cute way that he could have redirected that interaction to not embarrass her.
He was a jerk. It reminded me of like a high school movie where it's a jock and it's a girl that's like trying to, and she doesn't have to do it. She deserves better. And speaking of, okay, let's say it was a woman that he was attracted to. Okay, and I'm just thinking of some of the people that we know that, you know, maybe might be his type. I don't recall him speaking to the mother. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't recall him speaking to the mother of the bride before.
I don't remember that either.
Maybe he did. I don't know. But if he didn't, I don't think he commanded or even entertained her family from the front. And that's showing leadership as a man. Like, I definitely kissed your mom on the cheek coming down. And you don't marry a person. You marry the entire family. People that are living and gone. Like, you marry all of that. And you need to respect that. And then on top of that, so you're on TV treating their daughter, treating their sister, treating their friend this way. And they're going to see this. And it's just like, you're not becoming more attractive to anybody at that singles thing that you're doing because of who you are. And it looks like he's really on here entertaining his friends. Like, I told her, I was like, it looks like he's like waiting to be at the frat house. Like, man, look at me. I wasn't with that. Like, bro, somebody needs to grow up. One of your friends need to grow up and slap you in the face and tell you like who you are and that you need to really, really respect people in a different way. And it really was just ugly really behavior. It's like, don't be ugly. It's from me and my grandma. Like, that was ugly behavior.
Yeah. Well, he really, if we really look back to even the bachelor party, he was like that with AJ as well.
Oh yeah,
he was
judging
very
him.
Judgy and surprised that AJ would be matched with Stephanie and they would look happy because based on his
because he turned up at a strip party. Who cares? He's talking trash. Who cares?
Based on his hour or two assessment of meeting this person who is the opposite of him, he feels like that person couldn't be matched. So this is a common theme with him, and he's going to get more of what he's getting. And if somebody falls for the trap, if somebody who has not seen the show falls for him,
the mouse trap,
they are going to be in for a rude awakening because there's a lot more nasty that we haven't seen.
And he hasn't even gotten upset yet. Could you imagine that?
But it doesn't even matter if he runs into someone who looks the way he wants. He's still like not that great of a person.
That's my point. That's my point. The women that we know, if he wouldn't have spoken just the way he's carrying himself, they wouldn't have been attracted to that
at all.
So
that's Luke and Kate. Sorry, Kate. We want better for you. We hope you find it. I know
you will.
Yeah.
She will. She will. And please don't let this pull you down because you're better than that. And I think about when her mom was crying. It's sad. I don't even really think about this situation too much anymore. It just sucks. So
that's Luke and Kate. Next we have Keith and Kristine. So I'm enjoying watching them. Keith and Kristine, Keith from the Islands. And what was cool about him, so Keith I didn't think would be as willing to do what she wanted to do. I thought that last week when she dragged him to the gym, I thought it was great because she's going to push him a little bit. She's going to challenge him a little bit. And I find that sometimes she shows up. I didn't think she would show up as maturely as she has based on the way that they presented her. But she shows up pretty maturely and she gets him out of his comfort zone. So I enjoyed seeing that he took initiative because if we don't know anything about Keith, is he doesn't like working out and he wants a woman that can cook.
And he likes the flatulence.
Yes, we learned that.
Man, it took me 16 years. I mean, what was it, 12 years?
We learned that.
Man,
but it was
man took 6 days to get loose. He got
really comfortable. But
what that a-hole say?
It was cool to see him jump into her world and go bike riding and want to do these things and open to enjoying it and possibly continuing to do that. I did not expect that from him. So I really enjoyed seeing that. It was like a grown up response to that.
And I like that he said, whatever you want, I'm open, I'll do it. It's a lot of things that you see a lot of people that are, especially men, that are great at or got achievements for. It was a woman behind them. Case in point, Henry Ford. I'm from Detroit. I know a lot of Henry Ford stories. He wanted to quit. He wanted to quit working on the assembly line for Ford. He was not going to launch it, and his wife pushed him and told him, "Why would you quit? You're so far, and keep pushing." And now half of us drive him. So sometimes marriage, pushes you. I guarantee you, once he starts seeing the cuts and start getting the feeling and having more energy, he's probably going to be a little addicted to the gym and enjoying it. And that's something that they started together. We have habits. This show, I wouldn't have watched this show by myself. You would have, hey, what you watching, bro? Married at First Sight. All right, bro, we call you later. I'm watching the game. But it's fun to watch it with her, and have these moments. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, she knows.
But now he looks.
But now she wouldn't even watch Game of Thrones. I put her up on Game of Thrones. I know y'all love Game of Thrones, and now she loves it. She can't wait for it. And I had to push her to watch it.
Yeah. So what else happened with them last night?
The cooking. They talked about cooking. They talked about what else?
Nothing. Keith and
The
Kristine
bubble
didn't.
bath. I mean, the thing at night.
No, that was the night before. Keith and Kristine didn't give us too much. I'm really
Or
interested.
the mud bath. Did they do any mud
Yeah,
bath?
they did the mud bath. They enjoyed each other. I'm looking forward to what they're like when they get back home. They both, reside with family, so now it'll be really a very interesting component to watch them, get back home and figure out where they're going to be and how they're going to be. And, Keith, once again, mentioned cooking several times because they had this assignment from the experts to talk about what they really enjoy about each other and things that they had apprehensions about or wanted to work on. And he said, well, I don't have anything to complain about. I haven't had your cooking yet. So we get it, Keith. You want her to cook. We get it. So I think them being at home and really engaging in their day-to-day is going to show different challenges. Because they're very attracted to each other. They're both young and fun. It's casual. Who's going to have a bad time in a gorgeous suite on an island? It's not...
Some of them have.
Well, yeah.
Honeymoon Island. My man wrote a note and dipped.
Well, so they definitely are enjoying that dynamic. So I think they had a great episode, and we'll see. I think we'll get more of a better picture next week.
The only thing I would say with that is it's interesting. I think all of us, while watching these shows, we start to understand how important your family upbringing and dynamic is, and how much that plays a role on you. And you may not even realize it because a fish can't see the water that it's swimming in, but we can see that he wanted to maybe learn how to cook, or maybe he tried, and everybody like, boy, get out the way. You don't know what you're doing. But it's like, was somebody going to teach me? And I think we have to, as parents and as friends, I think that just life skills we should teach. We should start making knowing how to cook.
It's a survival
Yeah,
skill.
and I had the audacity. I'll be honest. I have a vulnerable moment. I had the audacity last night. I'm like, man, can you believe these guys? These guys can't cook. They don't want to cook. Yeah, man, these guys, what? And then she's like, you don't cook? I'm like, what? I'm like, I did a seafood bake. I made lobster and everything.
Listen, if you can count it out, if you can count out the times that you cook, you don't cook.
But I can cook. So you made it seem like I don't cook.
Listen,
I do cook.
Guys, listen, sometimes I'll put the therapist hat on. People hear what they want to hear. I said he can cook. I said he just doesn't cook.
I made greens.
So
I get it in.
I said the end result is the same. They don't cook and you don't cook. But guess what? I came home today and he cooked a wonderful meal, and it was very, very good. So.
Sometimes you got to do stuff to stick it to the other person. It's not about even treating her nice. I'm not even going to get the kudos. I didn't care about treating her nice today. I care about sticking it to her to let her know. And I made some couscous with some nice salmon and some nice chili peppers with the roasted tomatoes on there, and some mushroom saute. So I know how to cook. I chefs it in.
Yeah, you do.
But
okay.
I could do it a little more often.
So that's.
I clean every day though.
I enjoyed it.
And I go to my hot spot.
Okay.
Walmart,
All
baby.
Right. All right.
And bring home the bacon.
That is Keith and Kristine.
Turkey bacon.
So we have next Will and Jasmine. Let's talk about them. So Will and Jasmine, I think, have great potential. I'm still on team Will and Jasmine. I think some of the stuff that they struggle with are things that they really can easily overcome. I have to remind myself, it's a lot. They go from meeting each other to, on a honeymoon, and everything is fast tracked. And although it's probably overwhelming. And then you have people all in your face. People are in your face as you are detailing these first or experiencing these first few moments of some stranger. So I think that some of the issues that they're having, the continuous conversation about gender roles, and they even poke fun at each other in this episode about the gender roles. Some of their ways of maybe getting frustrated or shutting down. We see they go on an activity where the ATV incident, Jasmine, last week had gotten frustrated because she didn't like the way that Will responded. Well, this week they went ziplining, and she really wanted him to go ziplining, and he didn't. He's really scared of heights, so there was a challenge there. She didn't want to do the mud bath, and so he got frustrated. I think if they learn how to effectively communicate, they'll be fine, because these are just little things. And at the beginning, things seem to weigh more than they really do. If you're a seasoned couple, when on our honeymoon, he went ziplining and I didn't. We've done it before, though. The first time I did it, it was both of us. I looked very much like what Will would have looked like. But we did it before, and then I did it again, and then this time I was like, no, I'm not doing it again. He wanted to do it again, he did it. But, you know, we've known each other a long time. It would be very different if it was brand new. So I think some of these hiccups are because they're new to each other. There's weight on everything has to be perfect, and they're getting to know each other. They don't know anything about each other. The gender roles conversations and debt and all that, they don't know anything that would make that conversation a more knowledgeable conversation. Well, here's my amount of debt, so really this is what I can afford. They can't even have that type of conversation.
And that conversation doesn't end soon. Like if you got student loan debt, you're gonna have a lot of conversations about that.
Right.
And things change and emotions change. But one of the best things, a piece of advice we got from a couple that I think was married like 30 years when we were on our cruise. It was like their 7th cruise. And they were like, look, the best advice we can give you all is you don't have to do everything together. And that's one thing. She was like, if he wants to go jump out a plane, which I have done. And so these height things, I laugh at it. I'm the one spinning around acting crazy on the zip line. People are like, oh my God, he's going to kill himself. But I just have no fear. I almost died at 18 and I just never fear death. But other people do. But I respect that. And I don't. And if she doesn't want to do something I really want to do, here's the thing. You don't want to let it get to a point where you shut down. And I'll be honest, she used to do that sometimes. If we got into it, she would shut down. I remember we were on Beale Street in Memphis, and we couldn't enjoy Beale Street after that because I couldn't bring her back out of it. And it was like, man, this happened like an hour ago, but we can't drink, we can't have fun, we can't listen to good music. And so I think that's what happened kind of at the mud bath. It got a little, she was just out of it. And I think at that moment, as a spouse, you have to be understanding to bring them out. I learned that. Being upset at their actions is not going to bring them out. Being understanding of their feelings can bring them out.
Right.
And that way, if he's scared of heights, we might all, if you're not scared of heights, it's easy for you to say that.
Right.
It's easy for me to jump out of a plane, but there's people that won't, right? Now, on the flip side, the only thing that I would say is interesting, and they have to, and this is where I think a good therapy session, or maybe like playing your card game or talking to someone like Steph, is that she comes from some very protective, and I could tell from her dad, he's protective, he's a man's man, provider, that type of guy. And she thinks that is how men should be. And there's probably some great traits about that. And that doesn't mean that her husband has to be the exact same thing, because now she's just trying to find her dad in another man, which is tough to do. But you can look at certain things that you want in a man, and there's certain things that you have to have, right? He has to make 100%. Okay, well, that means you might be moving, because he may make less than you, but he may be on his way to making more. Like, what's his name? Keith? Is that the other one?
Yeah.
Like he's there with his parents, but he's like getting his doctorate or something like that. So you have to meet people where they are. We didn't always have money, or I didn't always have. Sometimes we have different roles because of the timing. She might lose her job, I might lose a contract. So it just depends. So to have this blanket thing, and a lot of people do that because they're at the at brunch with the girls, dripping mimosa. Hell, he got to do this, he got to do that, and men do it too in our own way. She ain't cooking, man. She got the blah blah blah, and it's like, that's great with your homies or with your girlfriends, but when you get with somebody you live with, all of that needs to kind of just be a little bit more flexible. But
because you can be with somebody and it could be exactly the way that you designed it to be, and then life happens, and that's the true testament of love and marriage and life. You gotta roll with it. So that's what I'm saying. The way that they are bumping heads a little bit, they're fine.
They can get past it.
They really are fine.
And I do want to say two more things. A lot of people, like when she was falling off the thing, I could barely watch that.
The ATV.
The ATV, it's just like, that is a moment where I do agree with her 100%. Just even his mannerism when he's just sitting there like, I can't take, man, she knows. I would have, if I couldn't stop it, it would have just ran into the tree. I would have jumped off and made sure I got her, because you just never know. And I've done ATVs, and those ditches can be very, tricky. That thing could have fell back on her, all types of things. And I think a woman wants to feel providing, and guys, if you're listening to this, and ladies, providing is not just financial. It's really, finance is secondary. It's actually a third thing. And I know you're like, whoa, what do you mean? If you put finance as the only way to provide, then when you don't, you aren't. So if you don't make money, you aren't a man. So if you don't, and I've had this issue with myself when I lost money in real estate, and that's not true. That is not true. What you want to provide as a man is safety, is comfort in a home, and cohesion and leadership. That's what she wanted. That providing her assurance, things like that. money can help do that. But if you rule your family off of money, then whoever makes the most money will end up ruling the household, which is not the way it should go.
Right.
That's not how leadership fluctuates. It's not like, and depending on spirituality, you want to lead from that level if you're a spiritual person or a religious person. So I think a lot of people say this word provide, and it's such a jaded definition that's setting you up for failure. It's setting you up to go up and down.
Monotone on what people really think about.
So I think you should all define that. Like, you should write that down maybe tonight. Like, what is providing mean to me as a man or to me as a woman? What do I want somebody to provide for me? And if you're stuck on being independent, you're not ready for marriage. Independent is about being alone. Interdependence, which is two independent people coming together to function together, is interdependence. And a lot of people don't even know that word. They don't even know that it exists. So you might want to Google that if you've never heard it. I didn't, so I'm not acting like I'm smart. But I learned that from actually a Jamaican woman a long time ago taught me that. And I was like, what is interdependence? And it's the most powerful dependency that we can have. So I know that was a lot on that part, but that kind of speaks volumes to everything that's going on in all of these shows, is to define what that independent, quote unquote, is, interdependence, and then actual providing, what those things mean to you.
Yeah.
So.
And that's been like a great dialogue for this season, and definitely something that they should highlight a little more in the upcoming seasons. I think that they brush on it because I feel like I've heard about it, but clearly it's a recurring theme. So. So last but not least, we have Stephanie and AJ. So Stephanie and AJ, the thing that sticks out to me about their episode last night was when AJ snapped at the producer because he was not ready. First of all,
he had 0 Fs.
It doesn't surprise me with AJ. AJ's manner, and y'all know I love AJ, even though he is a lot. I will give you that. I know everybody's like, how could you? But he is a lot, okay? He's a big personality, but I feel like he is a genuine spirit, but I also feel...
You say he is or isn't?
He is a genuine spirit.
Okay.
Or the way he presents, he just seems very likable and like kind of like easygoing. But I also feel like there's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of thing.
It's like the tears of the clown type of thing, you know? It's
like a lot of the way that
Bojangles, or is he what's the other one?
I don't know.
Pennywise.
Oh.
Like, which one? Which clown is it?
Yeah, a lot of the way that he presents, it is genuinely him. He's fun. He's boisterous, but there's a lot of like cover up. His mannerisms are over the top, and I think they're over the top so that you may miss what is really going on sometimes. And this is me just throwing stuff out. I don't have any background on him, but I just feel, first of all, the Stephanie and AJ match, even though I like seeing them genuinely happy together and happy in this space. Do I think that there's still this... Do I think that there's a couple's chemistry? I continue to say no. I think that they operate as two people who wanted this thing, they got this thing, and they're doing this thing. And they're enjoying each other because it could have been worse. It could have been with someone who wasn't what they wanted and who didn't want the same thing. And they're making it work. They still give me friendship vibes. But with AJ, I think there's a lot of him that we're just not going to be able to see because he's not going to show it to us. He's tight. He's regimented, and not in the way that Luke is, but he is regimented in the way that he'll present himself, which is this big, boisterous, consistently loud and smiley and exciting personality. And then we see him snap over something that's so minimal. And so I really hate to compare him to a serial killer because he's really nothing like that. But I'm just saying, if you watch any criminal shows or have looked into that, or if you've studied that, you know, like
Dexter.
Serial killers are extremely regimented. They are extremely by the book. There is a way that they do things. Where serial killers get caught is when they start to be sloppy. So if there's a thing that they do, and they didn't do it this time, they are starting to decompensate to a point where they want to get caught or they will get caught because now they're like not operating in the way of their true, regimented nature that keeps them in control. So on the flip side, bring it back to happy and light. On the flip side with AJ, that loud, boisterous personality also serves as a distraction for whatever he may be hiding. And there's no judgment to what he's hiding, because I feel like sometimes we all go out into the world and we hide something. I actually met with a a client today, and she was like, I want to be a therapist, and I was like, oh, that's great. What are you interested in? And she was like, I feel like sometimes I'm crazy, and I just think that every therapist I know has it together. And I was like, no, we don't. I was like, no, we don't. Like, I'm sitting in this room with you, and yes, I'm helping you, but we're people, So it's just the way that he presents. There's something that's hidden there, because you can't always be 100% on, and we saw a piece of that.
Yeah. And I think he said, first of all, I like AJ. Let me just say that. I like him. He did exactly what you should do at a wedding by greeting the mom and being the man of the house, of the room. It was his wedding, and therefore I believe you should be the lead of that entire event in a certain way. You should be present. And I know we turned up, and it was everybody knew who I was at the wedding, obviously. And they all got greeted. And I even grabbed people out of the family to dance. And you want to do those types of things. And I really think he likes her. I think he likes her. I think he also likes the feeling of not being alone. And so here's where I want to go with this. You can be alone and not lonely. And you can be lonely and not alone. And him eating dinner alone, there's something deeper there.
Oh, yeah.
And there's something of where did this belong? And he also said, I'm grown and I'm mature, which I think he is, but he has this immature playfulness. Where did that start? And was there some type of pain that this playful, joyous person or personality covered up? And where does the loneliness come into play? So I think that has to kind of get, kind of come out. And it may come out years later in the marriage. It may not come out anytime soon. But this is where, like, therapy is so, like, important, especially before marriage and enduring and getting to that, because she may never know the questions to ask to pull that out. And he may have something that if he doesn't talk about it, it can show up in the marriage, but it also can show up in front of children and everything else. So I think control is a big part, because when somebody wanted him to do something,
and he
didn't want to do it. He didn't. I have issues with authority, so I understand that. And it's giving up control. Like, we don't have to do it now. Who said we have to do it now? And I don't think that's ever happened on the show.
No, and it was so minute. So we look at what really triggered him, which is something that for most of us is simple, and it really is simple.
And we called it. We called it. We were like, it's not about him doing it. He doesn't want her judgment to come. So who's judged you in the past? Who's made you feel this way? Is it mom? Is it dad? Is it what? Because he was afraid of what she might have to open up and say about him, because guess what? He can't laugh it off anymore. He can't deflect it when they have to get under the surface. Now he's afraid of what she might say. So it's very sensitive.
Yeah, and he has to plan what he's going to say. Yeah. So that's why he said, I can't think of anything on the spot. If you ask me right now 3 things I love about my husband, 3 things I want him to work on, I wouldn't have to think about it.
Just
I would
3?
know.
Did I have to work on?
No, just starting out with 3. But
hear ye. Let me count the ways. Scribe, come here, dilly.
But yes, I wouldn't have you putting me on the spot is not difficult. And I know because they're new, it might be a little more difficult. But if you see the other 3 couples, they did it. They casually did it, and they didn't have that issue. So, it's something else is going on. And I mean, it was a breath of fresh air to see him be something other than what we have seen.
Yeah, and that's actually growth.
Yeah.
That's actually, people think, oh, that's bad or it's going to hurt the marriage. Actually, it helps the marriage.
Yeah.
Like she said, she took it like a champ. That's a mature way to take it. She said, I'm glad it came up, because it came up. He wasn't mad at me. Now she can ask about it and talk about it, because we're all human, right? I think everybody watches this and then we become perfect. Yeah. We're not perfect. When we first met, I was nowhere near how I am now, and we're nowhere near perfect now. I mean, we still have our issues. Speaking of, when can I talk about the good stuff?
What good stuff? Oh, yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
So we want you to first of all, you're supposed to like and comment and subscribe.
Yes, like, comment, and subscribe.
She's supposed to say that at the beginning, but she never does.
Whatever. That's all that we have for this week's episode. But
But I got something.
I'll be talking to you guys throughout the week.
So. All right. So we've been thinking about doing something, and we want you guys to comment and let us know what you think about it. We were thinking about, I come on here sometimes, for the reviews, and I travel a lot, and we travel. We have a lot of funny travel videos that we have not posted. We haven't shared with anybody. And then we have our our little, we both give our 2 cents on stuff that's happening in current events and news and while we travel. Good stuff, and then we have stuff that happens between us that isn't so good, but we learn from. So her 2 cents, my 2 cents. We were thinking about creating a little video playlist inside her channel that's our 4 cents, but it's worth a nickel. You know, we can make it rain with nickels.
Oh my God. No.
Anyway, our 4 cents is going to be funny little like videos, outtake videos of us traveling, talking trash, stuff with the family, and then learning lessons that happen throughout our marriage. And some are great, some are funny, and some aren't so great. But they allow you all to learn from our stuff. And we're going to be talking a lot of shift on there, right? So we're going to be talking big shift, little shift, but we are the shift, because that is what it's all about. I'm done. I am sinking, but it doesn't matter.
You are.
I want to know your comments.
Started off strong.
I think I want you guys to, let me know your comments and tell us what you think.
Yes, so just let us know what you think. We're thinking about doing something like that, and we'll definitely be sharing it with you whenever we get started. So as always, I enjoyed talking to you guys this week. Hope everyone has a great week. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like, and I'll see you next week.